Should we be offering paid menstrual leave in organizations?
I don't think we should encourage period leave.
So I believe there's a strong case for why a menstrual leave should be there.
So we are fighting a lot for equal rights. Now for me, it'll again be going back to the square one wherein we will be restricted towards certain roles.
To avoid the pain, to avoid these challenges, majority of them undergo hysterectomy.
I want to understand that what is it about their psyche, what's it really running in the mind that makes this whole conversation difficult for them?
The hustle culture makes the person who's hustling the most grow and get the limelight, get the spotlight, get the best of the opportunities, get the best of growth. So we continue to subside that and shove that discomfort away. We do not voice it because we feel that that will take away the opportunity that I deserve.
What if the line manager is not empathetic? The moment female comes back from her leave, then can you guarantee a positive behavior from the line manager?
This is not about equality, this is about equity. But when the change comes at a policy level, what does it do? It becomes a mandate.
In case we encourage such kind of policies, because how many policies you will create then? Will you create another policy for menopause as well?
Hi, my name is Meera Swaroop. Welcome to this episode of Workwise with Naukri. Our point of conversation today is menstrual leave, what's the fuss? Our guests today on this special episode are two professionally acclaimed ladies, Kalpana Sachdeva and Sonia Khurana. Kalpana is Regional HR Director for Asia at Unique Logistics International. Sonia is the co-founder and CEO of an award-winning new age media and creative content company called Wine Studio. Here's what's coming up. Differing points of view from both our guests. We discuss, do we even need menstrual leave? We discuss its impact on women at large across different industries and what major changes can be made with the wave of awareness. Let's welcome Kalpana and Sonia. Welcome, Kalpana and Sonia, to Workwise with Naukri. Our conversation today, should we be offering paid menstrual leave in organizations? Kalpana, I'm going to start this directly with you. What's your view?
I don't think so. We shouldn't. Why? Because it will create another stereotype and biases against the female employees. Why? Because sitting at this side of the table, I have seen that when it comes about giving the opportunity even for the interview process, many of such employers think about whether to hire a female employee or not. Why? Because they think that we need to give them maternity leave, we need to give them marriage leave, and now we are talking about period leave. So which means we are creating more complex an environment for ourselves. I don't think we should encourage period leave. Rather, we must create an inclusive environment wherein we are creating lot of awareness amongst employees. Standalone policy might not solve this problem at all. So we are fighting a lot for equal rights. Now for me, it'll again be going back to the square one wherein we will be restricted towards certain roles in case we encourage such kind of policies. Because how many policies you will create then? Will you create another policy for menopause as well?
I hear you, Kalpana. All right, that's a very valid point that you said, that we might take up the bar of challenges for women even more in case a policy like this gets administered. Completely valid, and I hear your point. I'm going to still take the question to you, Sonia. What's your view on this?
So here's my take on Ms. Meera. The fact that we are a country with 355 million women of menstrual age, of which 20% are still undergoing PCOS or likely to have PCOS, and so many others who have painful periods through endometriosis and so many other challenges like ovarian cysts and other things that happen. There's so much social unacceptability around periods that women work in their workplaces under tremendous pain. And because of the taboo and the stigma around it, there's no conversation. But the fact that a period policy and a menstrual leave policy can allow for that conversation, can allow for the acceptance that this is a phase where women are not productive. In fact, there was this Dutch study in 2017 which says that women are, more than 1/3 of the women are actually not productive throughout these days. And if they're not productive, then they're not able to contribute to the workplace the way you want them to be. They're not at their fullest potential. Then wouldn't you rather give them that time off and ensure that when they're back to the workplace, they're able to contribute to the fullest, and knowing that there's a comfort that people accept it, that it is all right, it is not looked down upon, there's no bias that is surrounding it, and it is becoming a part of the conversation instead of being put under the rug. So I believe there's a strong case for why a menstrual leave should be there.
Right. I'm going to go a little deeper with you, Sonia, because you're speaking for the women who go through this as much. Could you help walk through what a woman who's going through that pain, having to deal with when she's got to try to dial up to say that she can't make it to work? I want to understand that what is it about their psyche, what's really running in the mind that makes this whole conversation difficult for them?
The overall conditioning and how we've been brought up, it's been always looked at from the lens of this not being a pure time. The traditional lens, if you look at when you think about menstruation, all the beliefs that surround it are something that are ingrained not only in women but also men. And the other thing, if you think about it, I don't know how I'll be taken on this, but we've always seen our mothers and elderly women in our households continue to work throughout those painful days.
So true. Yes.
And we don't look at that as a different situation because they never voice it out, because they've also felt that it is normal. And because we have considered that pain and that trauma that comes with it normal, we feel that it is how it should be for everybody else. Less realizing that it is not comfortable, it is not easy to work through those days. But just because we have never voiced it out, and thus we have never garnered support and understanding from people and men around us, we continue to subside it, we continue to put it under the rug.
Right. Right.
And we feel that this is not a conversation that should be tabled.
Beautiful. It's like, okay, I have pain, I'm going to find some hack to manage the pain and therefore pretend that it's not happening. In reality, it's happening, and I'm so conditioned to just keep putting it under the carpet and just manage it by myself.
And add to that, everybody wants opportunities. Everybody wants to grow. And the so-called hustle culture, especially from the world that I come from, the startup world, the hustle culture makes the person who's hustling the most grow and get the limelight, get the spotlight, get the best of the opportunities, get the best of growth. So we continue to subside that and shove that discomfort away. We do not voice it because we feel that that will take away the opportunity that I deserve. But why should your discomfort, why should your pain take away the opportunity that you deserve?
That's precisely.
And that is where I feel that the more we bring this into the conversation, the more we talk about such policies that can create an equitable workplace, the better it is for everybody, not just women, but everybody at the workplace.
I hear you. It's beyond gender. It's the awareness, like how Kalpana said, that will significantly matter, but how they just choose to look at the other person and what they're going through, their ability to support them during that difficult time, being able to do their work on their behalf. And of course, this is going to be back and forth.
And bring empathy.
Precisely. The empathy that just breeds in the environment then. Got it. Thank you for that. Kalpana, you said something, and I'm going to go deeper with that, because you said the moment we put in a leave policy, it is going to hamper how easily women enter the workforce. There were already certain barriers that have been perceived. Women have been trying to break them. This is an ongoing conversation. Now you're like, hey, we're trying to overcome the hurdle, but we're taking the bar even higher with this policy. Talk a little bit about that. And I think you're coming from experience.
Yeah, because I worked in a manufacturing sector, I worked in a service sector. So when I used to work in the manufacturing sector, now we are talking about period leave, but what about having a basic facility for a female, having a separate toilet? Only talking about a leave will not be a solution for this particular point. Why? Because even if you're giving them a leave, what if the line manager is not empathetic? The moment female comes back from her leave, then can you guarantee a positive behavior
Right.
from the line manager? towards that female, because I have experienced it myself when we were talking about even having a separate female toilet in one of the organization. I had to fight for 6 months for just having a separate female toilet, and there we had to struggle a lot for such a basic necessity. Now we are talking about period leave, which even itself is a controversial topic. Like, people don't want to discuss about it at all. If you want to sit with a male counterpart, they don't want to discuss about it. Female feels shy talking about it. So rather, I would agree with Sonia that be more empathetic towards females rather than another gender, rather than creating another barrier for them to enter into the corporate world. Even I have seen female line manager not being empathetic during those days. And rather, they are criticizing couple of females. I personally know that they restrict hiring another female candidate. So for me, what data says, the countries which we were referring to, even out of 192 UN countries, like which are under UN, only 8 countries are giving such kind of benefit as far as period leave is concerned. And first and foremost name is Zambia, then Taiwan, then Japan, then South Korea, and in entire Europe only Spain. Even in Japan and South Korea, females, so I've seen reports wherein females are openly discussing about discrimination because they have been given this special privilege. So for me, it will be better to have a separate special sick leave policy, or a policy wherein any gender can utilize it, irrespective of its female, irrespective of transgender for that matter, irrespective of male counterpart. They also have many mental health challenges, because if you are giving them 1 day leave, what if they'll ask another day leave? Because it's not only 1 day for a couple of females, it can be 2 days, it can be 3 days. Definitely, it will create more and more challenges for the females as far as entering into the corporate world is concerned.
Got that. So I see how you're really trying to encompass the entire population, like you said, inclusivity. And I'm so glad you pointed it out. I'm going to use the word a form of misogyny when we try to educate everybody as much about the importance of supporting women, whether through their difficult periods, whether it's even during their pregnancies or the special leaves that they need to take. There is still a misogyny that runs where, in case a woman who's recently got married is applying for a position, I'm not really sure if I'm going to hire the person. And even women are doing this when they are in the hiring positions. So thank you for calling it out, because I can hear that there is a concern still in the background. You might be doing your best practices, but you do know that at the ground level, these kind of biases still show up. And when we bring this in, the biases just went up. When we bring in menstrual paid leave, the biases just went up. I completely hear that. Because we're speaking about inclusivity, I am now going to take this to Sonia. Because Sonia, I understand that policies are not made for exceptions, but policies are made to support the weakest. And therefore, inviting you to share with us, what's your view when we would look to have paid menstrual leave be applicable for laborers, for people on the field, for people not as privileged to work in fancy offices like us? What's your view there?
To think about it, Meera, for blue collar workforce, for the ones who are on the field, what are the sanitary conditions like? What are the hygiene and safety conditions like? She just pointed out very beautifully that there was a time there wasn't even a female washroom. To top that, to avoid the pain, to avoid these challenges, a lot of them, majority of them, undergo hysterectomy, which is the removal, surgical removal of their uterus. What does that mean? We are compromising on the reproductive health equity. And this is not about equality, this is about equity. And if we are taking that away, what is it that we are creating as a nation going further? For women. We are able to have this conversation, but they do not even have the platform for this conversation because they do not have the basics, they do not have the support, they do not have that ecosystem to bring up a voice and say that these are my challenges. I do not have a hygienic workplace. I do not have a place where I can comfortably use a washroom, or the fact that I can just rest for a while because I am undergoing tremendous pain right now. There's a tremendous discomfort that I'm undergoing. They do not have the luxury to put that across. But when the change comes at a policy level, what does it do? It becomes a mandate. It gives them the platform to be able to say that, okay, you know what? Okay, this is a possibility. I can use it.
Right.
Of course, it again needs sensitization at a bigger level. It needs us to have those conversations not just with the workforce, but also with the employers to say that if you're able to give them that one day off when they most need it, again, not everybody needs it, but if you can give them that one day off, you will see that they'll come back, one, more loyal. They will want to work with you. You know that you have their support when you most need them. This is the workforce that will continue to stay true to you, will continue to work for you because they know that you care. There's empathy. They understand that I am at discomfort.
I really like the point where you say it's going to take up their willingness to come back to work, pretty much driving their intrinsic motivation because they feel respected, they feel cared for, a sense of real wholesome looking after. And that further drives their intention to offer more results to the organization. So I see where that's heading. So I want to hear from you, Kalpana, when Sonia puts that point forward and really says that there is so much benefit to the labor, to the people on the field. How do you think we could bring a little balance here, keeping them in mind as well?
Definitely provide them a paid leave. So are we ready to give them a paid leave? First of all, if employer is ready to give them a paid leave, we would be the most happiest person on this earth. Why? Because most of the time startups are struggling with funds and they would definitely not like to increase their wages. And that's the reason either they will hire female or they will not hire female if you're providing them paid leaves. So for the bigger organization, there is another challenge as far as provide that burden at a government level as well, because I know a developed country who's not even giving paid maternity leaves for that matter. So now we are talking about period leave. So for me, definitely it's a perfect situation and perfect world wherein we are being empathetic, we are taking care of our female employees, we are providing them all kind of benefits, be it at any level they are, whether they are at frontline, whether they are the frontline workers who are working in diverse or rather in very difficult conditions. So definitely we must provide them paid leaves. Why shouldn't we? But are we ready to take care of the financials then? That financial burden which our country would have to go through, and the employer for that matter has to go through. If yes, then we should. Why not? We must give that kind of benefit. And as a female, I would be the first person to be standing there and supporting another female that yes, we must be getting such kind of benefits. But that's the perfect situation we are talking about. But right now, as a realistic world, as we are living in a realistic world wherein every company is chasing profits.
Sonia, we hear the pro, we hear the con. I have a question that could you walk us through a scenario or two where women are in jobs or certain sectors where if they don't get leave in that period, it is supremely difficult for them to operate?
As somebody who actually hails from the hospitality background, I could definitely think of women in the hospitality sector because they are, think about the kitchens, think about the front office workers, think about people who are, serving in the F&B outlets or any QSR chain or any F&B establishment. It's a tedious job. It's long-standing hours. It's constantly interacting with people. It's constantly staying on your feet. There's so much tedious work. And think about the field workers. Think about, just a while ago, we talked about the blue-collar workforce where there's so much physical exertion that is the kind of workforce that definitely will most benefit from a policy like a menstrual leave, where they know that there is a facility that I can avail. There is a leave that I can avail if I am in a lot of discomfort. And when I know that, few things happen. One, I come back with a lot of energy, productivity, and wanting to give back more to the organization, because I know the organization cares for me as a
Right.
human, not just as a person who is a part of the workforce, but they consider me human. The fact that the organizations can also provide for humane working conditions, better facilities, all of those things for such workforce is of utmost importance, because this is the workforce that's continuously just physically grinding a lot more than people who are probably sitting and working, where the nature of the job is more just sitting and working from desktops or systems. I could also think of women who are in sales roles where they're constantly going out for meetings, traveling, because that again creates a lot of physical as well as mental exertion.
That's right.
And during a time when you're anyway, your body's anyway telling you the exact opposite, when you're not at your productive best, it would be rather better that they have a facility to avail a menstrual leave, or if not, at least there's a facility to maybe work from home if that is a possibility, to be still able to contribute, but at least work from home, if not, if nothing else. I feel that is the kind of workforce that definitely will make the most of a policy like this, and be happy to hop back to work knowing that they're being cared for.
Right. So what I hear from you is that there are certain roles which you cannot replace with work from home. Flexible working hours, maybe, but it really looks like their work gets delivered where they're really in the grind. And those days matter when they can't offer themselves, and therefore, instead of being consumed by guilt or a certain sense of resentment, can we just normalize it, and particularly for those conditions, make it easier. When Sonia supports how workplaces can be sensitized, let's hear from you as the HR expert on how you think organizations can be really doing 1, 2, 3 to make sure that women are treated more inclusively for their menstrual concerns.
So definitely, the employers can have peer-to-peer dialogue. They can have discussions around this topic quite openly. Workshops, for that matter. There can be workshops wherein a female leader can initiate it with a male counterpart, and they can discuss openly about such situations and address them in front of the team itself. Sometimes you might have answers, sometimes you might not have answers, but it's better to at least discuss about these topics. I think that will be the first point in case we want to see the change in the society rather than making it just a policy. I think to make a policy, you must understand the pros and cons both, and for that matter, please openly discuss in the corporate world. From HR perspective, there should be a platform wherein if a female is feeling such kind of a pain, she should be heard, she should be vocal about it. So for that, you need to have open platforms. In case you're not able to speak in open forums, then there must be a female peer-to-peer groups wherein they can go and discuss. If they're not feeling comfortable talking to a male line manager, there must be an HR person sitting there and to whom she can approach. So these 3 points we can take care of. 1, we can have open workshops. 2, we can have peer-to-peer groups. 3rd, medication or one-to-one help, medical help via technology, via app, irrespective of what kind of a mode we are about to choose. But yeah, these 3 things definitely can help in any corporate, be it service sector, manufacturing sector, any sector for that matter.
I hear you. Kalpana, when I hear you speak, I see the amount of support you have for organizations, structured large organizations, startups as well, that they could bring in these initiatives and really build it up. Ladies, I have experienced walking into a different dimension with the kind of information that I got from each one of you. It's an insight into a world and a space that I might have not got a chance to touch had I not been sitting on this space. I trust that the same has gone out to our viewers, our audience, and I pray that this conversation goes to those who need to listen to it the most. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Meera.
Thank you for watching this episode of Workwise with Naukri. We hope you enjoyed it. Do remember to like, subscribe, and share this with those who would find this conversation useful. We look forward to seeing you again.